Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 11, Chapter 8, the story of Pingala, text 28. Tasya nirvinna chitaya Geetam shrunu yatha mama Nirveda asa pashanam Purushasya yatha hi asi Tasya nirvinna chitya Geetam shrunu yatha mama Nirveda asha pasanam Purusasya yatha yashihi Tasya nirvinna chitya Geetam shrunu yatha mama Nirveda asha pasanam Purusasya yathayasi. Mataji, tasyaha of her, nirvinna disgusted, chityaha whose mind, geetam sung, srinu please hear, yatha as it is, mama from me, nirvedaha detachment, asha of hopes and yearnings, pasanam of the binding network, purusasya of a person, yatha just as, he certainly, asihi the sword. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Translation. The prostitute felt disgusted with her material situation and thus became indifferent to it. Indeed, detachment acts like a sword, cutting to pieces the binding network of material hopes and desires. Now please hear from me the song sung by the prostitute in that situation. Purport. The network of material desires is created when one falsely thinks that he can establish himself permanently in the material world. This binding network should be cut by the sword of detachment. Otherwise, one will be forced to wander in the illusory network of Maya with no understanding of liberated life on the spiritual platform. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So the permission blessings of all assembled devotees. I'd like to speak something on this section of Srimad Bhagvatam. We are discussing the story of Pingala and how her life was quite sinful, being a prostitute. But this world is designed in a way that no matter what you are, there is a kind of suffering and frustration, disappointments. So people speak so much about lust and sex. Actually, prostitutes have plenty of it, if we think about that way. But even that kind of life, there is a lot of situation that comes when a person suffers a lot. And that suffering sometimes reminds of one's fallen situation, and one tries to get rid of it. So here it is explained how she became very disgusted with her material situation, and she felt a lot of detachment in her heart. It's quite interesting. I mean, the situation sometimes drives a person to a point of detachment. Some very tough situation. And when the detachment comes, it becomes a very natural ground to cultivate or to progress in spiritual path. But here something is explained here is detachment is like the act of a sword. If we study Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, where Lord Krishna speaks about this material world as a network of various, desires, and the desires binds us to this perverted banyan tree, Urdham, Moolam, adha sakha aswatham prahuravyayam chandamsyasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavid. That this imperishable banyan tree, its roots are upward, branches are downwards, and then he goes on describing how the twigs are like sense objects. There are desires, that the leaves are like the hymns of Vedas, because Veda also speaks a lot about sense gratification, how to do it in a regulated way. But when the real detachment comes, later Krishna explains, one has to cut down this tree with full determination. Asangan sastrena drudena chitva. So these are the things Krishna speaks in that chapter. While describing that tree, it is explained that how Veda also recommends the chandamsyasya pranani. The regulation is required in all sphere of life. Without regulations, we cannot progress. Now, why regulation is required? Because we don't have the taste for the real thing. Just like we have regulation for traffic. Because if the regulation is not there, then we will not be able to reach the destination, because everybody will the network will entangle everybody. So there is some regulation has to be there. People don't realize that the discipline is required there. So it is kind of voluntarily accepted. In the same way, when we are in a state that we don't understand the smoothness of function and we don't have the taste for the things, then we have to follow regulations. And the regulation will gradually lead to the destination, and where one can achieve the success. Actually, it doesn't lead to, in the sense. So, the Vedas recommend regulations of sense gratification. That it says how to perform sense gratification, regulate it. But even living that regulation, one cannot experience detachment just by following the regulations. That this is something which you have to understand. Just by following regulation, you won't achieve detachment. But regulation is required, so there is some smoothness is there. Some kind of cultivation is there. It doesn't lead to detachment as such. But Krishna says one has to very strongly cut it down with determination. And another step has to be taken. One more step has to be taken, where we have to actually cut it down. And in everybody's life, situations come like this, like the Pingala is experiencing here. A situation comes when the determination comes and somebody gives you a sword in your hand, like a preacher in Krishna consciousness. You go through a situation, very severe, strong situation in life, and somebody gives you a sword in your hand. Cut it down. Right? So these situations are naturally created in this world. Arjuna also experiencing that, the same thing. He's disgusted, like Pingala is disgusted. Arjuna is also disgusted. Why is disgusted? Because he saw no point in the war of killing so many people. And he was thinking, if I win, all my relatives will die. There is no point in it. Just for a piece of kingdom. And he was thinking, if I don't kill them in the war, they will kill me. Kill Yudhishthir, Bhima, everybody will be killed. That is also a loss. That is definitely not wanted. And he thinks, if I don't go for the war, then what will I do? Like he says, I am going to beg. He says, Krishna, in desperation, I will beg. I will not fight. I will just beg Krishna. He's saying in desperation, but he knows it is not going to be possible. Krishna tells, your nature is that of a warrior, a kshatriya, administrator. You can't beg. Because while even begging, if you see some injustice happening somewhere, you will go for a fight. your nature will come out, right? So, knowing all these things, he was quite disgusted. And that is the time Gita is spoken, Krishna is saying how this world is actually a network of illusion and we forget the real purpose. This is Srila Prabhupada's great mercy on us, that he is actually bringing all these facts into our life. And so many, books, purports, and all these beautiful Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagvatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the things. So, some situation in life will create a ground for detachment in our heart. And that is the time one has to take shelter of the Lord. Shelter of the Lord. Because without the shelter of the Lord, it is not possible, or there is a big possibility of falling back to the network again. Once detachment comes in our heart, like Pingala, she also surrenders to the Lord in that helplessness. Or Draupadi, she surrenders to Krishna in a helplessness situation, a very disgusting situation, surrenders. And that detachment becomes successful. So this disgust may come in our heart for some time, but unless we surrender, and unless we take shelter of the Lord completely, this detachment it will not be successful actually. It will not be successful. So here you will see in the future verses how she offers nice prayers to the Lord. So how do we surrender to Krishna when we have that complete faith in Krishna? Because many people are passing through difficult times in this world, right? Everybody is passing, some situations comes, but why not everybody surrender to Krishna? Why some take full shelter and continue to and pray to get rid of all this network, which is the cause of, which is without cause actually. This war, if you understand, of course Duryodhana was there, he wanted the kingdom very badly, he was possessed by the desire that I want to be the king. So that thing led to that war, definitely there was a cause. But for Arjuna, it is quite a causeless situation. Why he has to go through this? Duryodhana had a desire, but they didn't want to be king. They just want to rule something, they render some service, but it was not available. So many people go through different situations, but some surrender, some don't. And in our life also, we see that how we pass through different situations, and our surrender is not complete. Sometimes it is, to some extent, surrender is there, but it's not to the full extent. So therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they recommend that we hear about the Lord more and more and more. The more and more we hear about His beautiful transcendental qualities, His transcendental form. Transcendental means beyond this network, there is something so pure, so fantastic, so beautiful in His form, in His appearance, in His qualities, His behavior, His activities. They're so wonderful that when we hear it again and again, and this difficult situation do come in life, we can take that shelter. We can take that leap in surrendering completely. So it is very, very important that we keep hearing about and keep reflecting about Krishna's great qualities. Those qualities will become a very nice reason, or a very nice shelter, or a very nice cause to surrender, to take shelter. Actually, surrender is not a very nice word in English. Surrender means basically they refer to terrorist attack and all kind of things. So the Pentagon say surrender. Krishna is not demanding any surrender. Of course, he says, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. But that he says to Arjuna at the end of Gita, where he says, these are very confidential knowledge. I don't say this to everybody, but because you're very dear to me, Arjuna, I'm saying this, that you should completely surrender to me. Because in that situation, you'll be happiest. It's for his happiness, which is a natural situation of every spirit soul, that in that shelter we'll experience the maximum, no fear, no anxiety, only happiness. Like a child in a protected family, the child has no fear, no anxiety, just enjoying, you know. Similarly, when a spirit soul takes complete shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, there is no fear, no anxieties. So therefore, Lord says you surrender, but as such He doesn't demand that we have to really surrender to Him. He gives us choices. And this we know from our personal life. We always have a choice. We never felt pressure from Krishna's side, now is the time to surrender. You know, He's just waiting. Like Upanishad says, Katha Upanishad says that two birds in the same tree, one bird is trying to enjoy with various fruits. Some are sour, some are sweet, some are probably bitter. And the other bird is just waiting in another branch. When this bird will turn to me? Not putting any pressure. Not demanding, not becoming restless, you know, just watching with patience and trying to help in all different way to the point that the other bird can actually look forward and surrender. And that is facilitated by Guru and Vaishnavas. This surrender is facilitated by the devotees of the Lord. Because the Lord cannot demand surrender. Because if He demands, then it is a different situation. But He wants it, like He expressed to Arjuna. He wants it. So the devotees, and especially Guru, they facilitate that fact. Because Krishna cannot, even if he becomes restless, He cannot demand it. He has all the patience, like that bird. But the devotees and Guru, they intervene, they encourage, they facilitate, they make way, they keep speaking about Krishna. Like if we see in the case of Yamunacharya, he was studying in a very nice Gurukul, he was very truthful, all good qualities of Brahmana was in him. He was studying in Gurukul. But then there was some challenge for a debate to insult his own Guru. So he took that challenge upon him and defeated, and as a result he got a kingdom. As a therefore we should not anyway, so the point is there was a challenge and he won that challenge and he got a kingdom. There was a bet between the queen and the king. He was not aware of this, that he is going to get a kingdom. He just came to fight on behalf of his Guru. To protect the dignity of his Guru, he came to fight. He had no desire of anything. The queen was very attracted to Yamunacharya, a small boy that time, and she said, this boy will win. King said, come on, our Pandit is, our Raj Purohit Pandit, he is such a great scholar and he is pride of our whole assembly, and we are proud of having such a great scholar. How can he be defeated? It's defeated means defeating our kingdom, like that. It's like a failure of our whole kingdom. Then she said, okay, if you think so, if this child wins, then you should give half the kingdom. If that is a loss, then king give the half kingdom. And they are talking to each other while the whole event is about to happen, and the king happily agreed, okay, the child wins, will give. That's queen's desire. So he agreed. And he gets half the kingdom, then something happens, then kingdom, he becomes a nice king, he grows and the kingdom grows. And he forgets his duty to Guru, Krishna, everything is, he forget about all the Bhagavad Gita shloka, everything he forgets. At that time, the Guru appoints another person, or before he leaves, he appoints another person to bring Yamunacharya back, because he had his affection for him, right? Because he served him, he protected his dignity, he did all kind of risk, took all kind of risk to protect. So the devotees, like in this case Nath Muni is the person who was appointed to retrieve Yamunacharya. He comes and somehow gets into the kitchen of Yamunacharya when he was a king. The kitchen is a big powerful place to affect people's mind and heart. So he just brings some simple spinach, some kind of saak, some turuvali or something like that. Nityan Prabhu knows this story very nicely. And that spinach was not just some leafy vegetable, it was brought by Nath Muni on the order of his Guru's desire. So that particular item was carrying all the consciousness, all the desires and the prayers and all kind of feelings was into that vegetable, and it was going to king's plate. When king was eating, he was feeling different, his metal desires become less and less, his entanglement become less and less, and he was thinking, what is this, why it is tasting so good? The prasad is actually very different. We may be eating so many things in so many places, so many restaurants, so many nice tasted dishes. But when we eat prasad, especially prasad of Lord Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu is giver of liberation, right? The prasad always tastes different. I have, being in India, and being from Odisha, so many demigods are, like here in only Ganeshji is worshipped, for example. In South, Kartikeya is worshipped. But in Odisha you will find all kind of deities are worshipped. Durga, Kali, in Kali also different form of Kali, Bhadra Kali, this Kali, that Kali, so many forms worshipped. Ganesh, if you go to Jagannath Puri, you will see in the temple itself there are so many deities are there, are surrounding Jagannath. So I have eaten prasad of many gods in my formative years. But when we eat Jagannath Prasad from Puri, not just because it's cooked in a matka, but that prasad was always different. One of the Shankaracharya actually said that three things in this world are not of this world. They're transcendental. You should not treat them as, the Shankaracharya is speaking, you should not treat them as jada or material. What are they? First is water of Ganga. Water of Ganga is not just water, it's not H2O. Drinking it and taking ablutions in it is purifying to our very core. It's not just simple water. And similarly, he says the dust of Vrindavan, Brajaraj, that is also not dust. Like we cannot just do it like this, It is pure. It is where Krishna, Balaram, all his friends, they walked barefoot. All the gopis, gopas, they walked barefoot there. That dust is not just dust. It is all pure. It is transcendental. Just like water of Ganga water is coming, washing the lotus feet of the Lord. So it is no more water. It has acquired that quality. And similarly, prasad of Jagannath, he says, is not just food. It's not just food. So when we eat, actually we can experience it. So Yamunacharya was eating these things, but he was experiencing something different, and he kept asking, what is this? What is this? Who bring this? The cook doesn't know. Cook is just simply cooking. The next friend, some sadhu is coming and giving this to you. So he said, I want to meet. And then he meets him, then they facilitated. He facilitates. He speaks about a wealth. The king is after wealth because he wanted to expand his kingdom. There are always, the more money we have, the less it is. Somehow this world is like that. I heard somebody was telling me other day, the richest people in this world are actually the poorest. I asked why? Because they are carrying a lot of debts in their head. Like somebody maybe a common man in this, going to office 9 to 5, may have a house loan at the best, 30, 40, 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, maybe once a year. Or some car loan, something like that. But these guys, they carry thousands of rupees, crores rupees as loan. And some of them, they die without paying back. That's the kind of thing they're handling. A lot of business. It is part of deal. So they can carry that burden. They carry that headache, still be smile. They go around in their own business. They have their big house, big vehicles, but they're in loan. So they're the poorest, he says. According to Chanakya Pandit, more debt you have, it's a negative money. Anyway, so he was speaking to the king about a big rich, a place where a lot of wealth is there. And he can show the way. And naturally, Yamunacharya said, yeah, I want to know. I want more. But he said, you have to come alone. No more of your, all this entourage. You have to come alone. So this is the preparation for detachment actually. When we come to Lord, actually we keep aside everything behind. We should not carry anything, any burden in our heart anymore. And sometimes we offer prayers to the Lord for protection of family, friends, and that is okay. That is nice, because Krishna is like Father. If I have a problem, whom should I speak? We can speak. But the point of surrender, when we come to the lotus feet of the Lord, we have to keep behind everything. Nothing we should carry. All the burden, everything, we just leave it aside and just go and surrender. So Nath Muni tells him, you will get this rich, all these riches, but you have to keep behind everyone. You have to come alone. No weapons also. If you carry a weapon, that means you are fearful. You need some protection. But no. Just bare hand you come to collect this. He was a king. In that sense, he was not fearful of things, situations. He said, oh, no problem, I will come. And he was more excited to know what's exactly this sadhu is speaking. But he had a lot of faith in him. That is required. We should have faith in the words of sadhus. So he takes him, and on the way he speaks about the Lord more and more. He recites the slokas from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which as a child he used to recite in the Gurukul. So he was getting all this memory back. It happens, in life that whatever I think in a modern setup like the world we are living in, whatever good things we have learned in our childhood, right? We have learned in childhood when the parents gives us good samskaras. But once you are out of home into the wilderness, this wild world of education, university, places like that, we literally forget everything, and we run into the things which we're not supposed to go, we're not supposed to do. So all the good things we learned in our basically childhood. So therefore giving good samskaras to the children is so important. Because when difficulty comes later in life, those samskaras help us to revive ourselves. They become a great hope. They give a lot of hopes. They give a lot of shelter. They give a lot of strength to fight situations, the samskaras. So when Nath Muni was reciting all these beautiful slokas describing the Lord, describing from Bhagavad Gita, so his memory was becoming more and strong, and that spirit of detachment was increasing. And he was thinking, what am I doing all these years? And then he takes through the 7 walls of Srirangam, Ranganath, the deity there even today. And Srirangam, the deity of Ranganath, is there. By seeing whose eyes, one devotee, Ramanujacharya, what's his name? He became detached from prostitute. So this prostitute story is coming here again. What's his name? Dhanurdas. So that Lord he's lying there, beautiful eyes, golden eyes. Actually his eyes are closed, still it is beautiful. that is the power of the Lord. Lying with closed eyes or half closed, yoga nidra, little bit open. Imagine when he opens his eyes, how much beauty will be there. So he speaks about, then he takes through these 7 gates, and he was speaking that there are 7 gates, I have to pass each of the gate. Then the treasure is there inside after the 7 walls. So, Bhumirapanola Vayu Khammanavadirevacha Ahankara, like that there are 8 things, 8 metal layers. So once we cross all these gates, then we can actually reach the lotus feet of the Lord. And the final is the ego, which is the most subtle, the most difficult to overcome, because ego is that thing which gives us a feeling that we are this body. And because of that strong feeling, we're so attached to this body and to the network of the body that we cannot think of giving it up. That ego is so strong. That is the real connection. That's what the whole attachment is about. That ego, very subtle, and it has convinced us to such an extent that it is practically impossible to overcome. It's just so powerful. And if we cut that, then the surrender is very sweet, and that shelter is very sweet. Otherwise it is not possible. Other things like we can see there is demerits in other anarthas, like lust, greed, anger. One may be saying lust is good because it's giving us some pleasure, but then we know because of lust there are so many problems in this world. So many hatred and competition, fights. It's because of lust. Lust is not just for sex, but lust for everything. Lust means this is mine, this is mine. Selfishness. Selfishness causes a lot of problem. Similarly, greed causes problem. One person was telling me in India, because of greed people take bribes, right? So somebody has some plumbing problem, he goes to the municipality and gives some money extra to get his job done. But the plumber, when he has electrical problem, he goes to the electrician, he gives some extra money to electrician to set his problems alright. That means you give bribe to somebody, say A, and A gives bribe to B, and B gives bribe to C. Like that, everybody is giving bribe to each other, nobody is benefiting actually. The money is going. Somebody may be benefiting, but just to speak about it, it is a greed that is driving people in a very unhealthy system. The system is very unhealthy. Besides, greed has no end. No matter how much we have, we are dissatisfied. And how one can be happy in a dissatisfied situation? So these limitations we know. Anger, of course we know anger is destroying somebody outside, destroying somebody inside. We are also disturbed by getting angry. We don't want it. We know the limitations, but we don't know the limitations of ego, because ego is always convincing. It is like they say, a beggar is proud of its small money. What is it? Penny. Yeah, penny means smallest currency. The beggar can be proud because of that. So ego makes you feel good in all situations. So how will you overcome it? You can't overcome it. So when we try to detach ourselves from our body, mind and all these things, the ego just doesn't allow it to happen. He said, it is nice. This is the problem. That is okay. What is the problem? No problem. Still it is nice. So therefore, overcoming ego is not an easy job unless we have a powerful desire for transcendence. And the desire comes by hearing, and this facilitated by the Vaishnavas, devotees, Guru. They facilitate that desire. They have a strong affinity for the transcendence. It comes by hearing about the Lord's pastimes again and again. Rama and Lord Ram is here. So much nice, beautiful stories are there. You hear about Krishna. Because they are not of this world, they are transcendental. When we hear about them, then our desire to take them their shelter becomes stronger and stronger, and that thing will help us to detach. So in this way, we hear about these stories, but actually walking through it is very tough. But it is worth taking that walk. It is worth taking that journey. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Of course, Yamunacharya becomes Yamunacharya after that meeting of Ranganath. He sees him and completely surrenders. He becomes Yamunacharya, and Sripad Ramanacharya takes his shelter. Then whole Sri Sampradaya begins. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagvatam ki. Thank you.